All right, so we're working on two-step word problems right now. So it works the same way as one step where we have to define our variables, write our equation, solve our equation, and label our final answer. So the first thing we want to do is define our variables. So remember that comes from the question. And the question is how many friends were at his party? So that means our variable is going to be x equals the number of friends at his party. Okay, so the number of friends at the party. Again, because we just want to answer this question, how many friends were at his party? So x is the number of friends at the party. Now we want to write our equation. So the first thing we need to do is identify some important information. Okay, so let's read this through. Jack's mother gave him 50 chocolates to give to his friends at his birthday party. He gave 3 chocolates to each of his friends, and he still had 2 chocolates left. So when we write equations, we always want to start with how much we started with. So how many chocolates did we start with? Well, we started with 50 chocolates. And what happened to those 50 chocolates? Well, he gave them to his friends, right? He gave to his friends. What does gave mean? Should we do addition, subtraction? What should we do? Well, gave means we're giving to somebody else, so you're losing things, so this should be a minus. So minus, and now it's 3 to each friend. And remember, of means to multiply. So now we're doing 3 times the number of friends, which the number of friends is x. So it should be 3 times x. And then he had means equals. He had 2 left. Okay, so this is going to be our equation. Again, we always start our equation with what we started with. So we started with 50 chocolates. We gave them away, which is why this is a minus sign down here. And it's 3 of his friends. His friends was x, right? Of means to multiply, and we had 3 there. 3 of friends. Okay, so 3 times friends, which is why it's 3x. And then we always equal it to what we have left or what's left over, which in this case is 2. Okay. You could also have written this another way. You could have said, well, we gave 3 to each friend. We had 2 left, and we started with 50. So either equation, you're going to get the same answer. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's start solving this now. So in order to solve this, draw the river. We have to undo this 50. Remember, this is a positive 50. So we have to do the opposite of a positive, and we subtract 50 on both sides. These 50s cancel. We bring our negative 3x down, equals 2 minus 50. 2 minus 50 is negative 48. And now remember, there's implied multiplication here. So we do the opposite of multiplication, and we divide both sides by negative 3. These 3's cancel. We're left with x equals 16. X equals 16. Now, if you did the other equation, you're going to get the same answer, right? So we subtract 2. So you would get 3x equals 48. X equals 16. Right? So either way, you get x equals 16. Okay? So let's write our final answer. So remember, what does this x mean? The x stands for the number of friends. So our labeled final answer would be 16 friends attended his party. or some variety of that sentence. So 16 friends attended his party. Or you could do, what's the kid's name? Jack had 16 friends at his party. Okay, some sentence like that. Your sentences don't have to be exactly like mine, but along the same lines. All right, let's do number two. Let's do number two together again, because this one always trips people up. Okay, so for a field trip, 4 students rode in cars, and the rest filled 9 buses. How many students were in each bus if 472 students were on the trip? So the question is, how many students were in each bus is the question. So X equals the number of students on, that should be on a bus, right? Because we want to know how many students were in each bus. So we want to know how much there's on a bus. Okay. So we always start with what we started with. What did we start the sentence with? We had 4 students rode in cars. 4 students rode in cars. So I start with 4. Then the rest filled 9 buses. Remember, X is the number of kids on a bus. So the rest would be addition. So we should be adding 9x. And it's 9x because it's 9 buses. Okay. And how many do we have in total? What's our total amount? Our total amount is 472. So our total amount is 472. Does that make sense? So we started with 4 people in cars. The rest filled 9 buses. Remember, X is the number of students on each bus. So that's why you do 9, because there's 9 buses and the number of kids on each bus. And it equals the total amount of students. Okay, so now let's solve this. This is an implied positive 4, so we should be subtracting 4 on both sides. These 4's cancel. We bring down our 9x. 472 minus 4. 472 minus 4 is 468. Now divide that by 9. And you should get 52. You should get 52. Okay. So what does that 52 mean again? Well, 52 means the number of students on each bus, right? Because that's what X means. So now let's label our final answer. There are 52 students on each bus. Those are pretty packed buses. All right. I want you to try number 3 on your own. So I want you to pause and try number 3 on your own for me. Okay, so pause and try number 3. All right. So looking at this, the question was, how many did he begin with, right? So that's why our variable should be the number of comic books started with, right? So reading the rest of this problem, Silas sold half of his comic books. So half is 1/2. Of means times, and his comic books, right? So we always start with what we started with. So that's why our equation begins with 1/2 x. And then he bought 16 more. So bought means he added to his collection. So we added 16, and he has, remember, has, those all mean equal 36. So that's why it's 1/2 x plus 16 equals 36. Okay, because we sold half of our original. We bought 16 more. And now we are Now we have 36. Okay, so when you solve that, you would get 40. So now we have to label our final answer and say Silas originally had 40 comic books. He's almost back there. So 40. So hopefully he bought some good ones. All right. One more to do. I want you to try number 4 on your own. Okay, try number 4. So pause, and once you're done trying it, or if you get stuck, unpause. Okay. All right. So I just kind of want to walk through this equation real quick. So she buys a large soda for $2.75. So that's just part of our bill. So we buy a soda for $2.75, and she divides the cost of a pizza with 3 friends. So this is where a lot of us are going to go wrong. You're going to say the cost of pizza, or our X, should be divided by 3 because you're seeing 3 friends. But she divides it between herself and 3 friends. So think about if you went to JoJo's with you and your 3 friends and you all get a large pie. You wouldn't split that 3 ways, you would split it 4 ways because you also have to pay, right? So that's why it's X over 4 and not X over 3. Okay? And then the total is $6.50. So that's why it's this equation. All right. So now we solved the equation and we got X equals 15. All right. So now we have to label this final answer. So our label is going to be the cost of a whole pizza is $15. Or again, some variety of sentence. All right.